Askreddit Asks, what were some of the worst experiences you have had while working in the fast food industry?
I was 16, working frontline cashier. A man walked up and, instead of ordering, he started talking about how his daughter was in vet school. I smile, nod, say something like, "That sounds nice." He then responds with, "Yes, she did something with her life. Unlike you." Edit. To those questioning the authenticity of this, just read through the comments. They're rife with people who have experienced similar shittiness.
Can you imagine having such a negative view on life that you belittle a good damn 16-year-old for working at McDonald's? Question mark.
I've had a customer come up to me in the middle of the mall, off shift, and tell me about how I forgot his sauce for his burritos.
Now that's some dedication right there.
Did they expect you to just pull sauce packets out of your pocket and say, sorry, here ya go? Question mark.
I don't know if any of you remember the grilled onion cheddar burger that McDonald's used to serve. But we used to keep the grilled onions in a heated tray in the grill area. One of the guys I used to work with at McDonald's came in one day all pissy. He used to chew tobacco while working, which was gross enough as it is. Well, he got caught on camera spitting his chew into the grilled onion tray. I think he got away with doing that almost his whole shift until someone saw the tape in the manager's office. He was fired on the spot. I'm not sure what they did about the burgers that went out served like that.
This is so far the worst thing I've read in this thread.
I went to hand a drink out the drive-through window and the asshats in the car threw a large blue Powerade all over me. My manager said if I went home early due to being soaked, I was fired.
I woulda hugged the manager and said, "Don't go home now, K," and walked out.
Should have thrown their drinks at him. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. But it sure feels good. It was definitely the last straw to find a new job. I put in my 2 weeks notice the next shift.
I had a very short stint working at the Golden Arches. The soda machine was literally never cleaned. On my first closing shift I went to take the nozzles off the soda machine and there was mold literally caked around the inside of each nozzle. The manager told me that the constant stream of soda kept the machine clean, so it wasn't necessary to remove the nozzles. Bullshit. I can't drink soda from McDonald's or any other fast food place anymore. Edit. I wanna thank everybody who commented reassuring me, and I'm sure a few other Redditors, that some places actually care about health and safety. Assumed safe places: Panera Bread, Panda Express, Steak and Shake, Jimmy John's, In-N-Out.
I saw a dude clean a bathroom floor covered in logs of shit on his first day. First job. For 2 months worth of free Taco Bell anytime he wanted. Still unsure if he won this deal.
Someone had totally destroyed the bathrooms with vomit where I worked as a manager, and I'm not one of those people who see it as, I'll make someone below me do it, but I'm also extremely vomit phobic. I paid one of the guys who worked there who wasn't fazed by vomit with like over 200 pounds worth of vouchers to do it. And my boss just laughed and said, "Yeah, fair enough."
Plot twist. It was his shit. He was so nervous that he came in as a customer the night before and ate every menu item to prepare himself for his first job.
A coworker dumped mop water through the ice cream machine in an attempt to clean it. Like the part where the soft serve goes to freeze. Edit. Guys, please stop making jokes about the McDonald's ice cream machine always being down. There are plenty.
Had someone pour Java base into the already filled neutral base part of the frozen drink machine at Tim Hortons. Had to shut down the machine and have someone come in to clean it. It was really hot that day too, so a lot of people were getting angry at us because we should have cold drinks on a hot day.
WTF lol.
I managed a breakfast joint for a while, beginning a few months after it originally opened. We have a very large oven where we bake our bagels. And one day, after the bagels had been baked for the day, the baker left the door open to cool. While I was up front, the restaurant, and I could hear it deafening "Holy shit" from the back where the oven was. I walk back laughing, expecting to see a proofing rack knocked over or some other stupid mistake. Instead, I'm hit with a geyser of jet black water from the sprinkler system above the oven. Well, shouting resumed as we tried to cover what we could while waiting for the fire department to arrive. FD arrived, and spent the next 5 hours looking for the shut-off switch for our sprinkler. Turns out the switch had been inadvertently covered, obstructed during the building's our store's construction. I got to stay late that day and help clean every ounce of black, smelly water from our appliances and slices. Approximately 3 hours of pressurized water in the kitchen.
We had a notice board that customers could pin their adverts on. One week we took everyone's stuff off so that we could use it as a memorial for our coworker who had just recently passed away. One customer came in and started going ballistic at us that we took her advert down. She didn't care that it was a memorial. My coworker ended up crying out the back for the rest of her shift. Edit. To clarify, it wasn't the coworker who passed that was crying out back.
Worked a Burger King a while back that stayed open till 2 a.m. One manager was actually a reasonable person, and was an older lady that clearly paid her dues to the company. At my store we only had 2 closes. So from about 10:00 to 3 a.m. it was just me and the manager. The night I put my 2 weeks in, she is just grumpy and teary-eyed looking at her phone. And she's not usually the manager who does that. Her oldest was going into a complicated premature labor and nobody could help her. No area manager wanted to come out that late. Corporate didn't care because that was part of the job. She was crying all night until we closed. Busted out of there 10 minutes after closing time. We broke so many rules. Fuck corporate people who think you have to take your time away from your children for shitty burgers. Does Starbucks count? A woman demanded room, space for sugar, cream, in her latte. Then burst back in line demanding more room. Then berated me for throwing out the ones she returned for damaging the environment, because I didn't resell them. Apparently, then demanded less room. Our manager ended up telling her she just had to leave because the line became enormous.
I worked at McDonald's part-time while I was in college. One day, I was working the drive-thru, and this guy ordered a lot of drinks. One of them was low on soda syrup. But instead of just telling me about it like a rational person so I could give him a replacement drink, he threw the extra large drink at me. Of course the lid came off and I was soaking wet. The manager, who was actually pretty good as far as fast food managers go, saw this happen. He took off running into the parking lot, flagged down the driver before he could leave, and told him to never come back. Then he came back in, found me a dry uniform shirt, and let me have a few minutes on the clock to sit in the break room and calm down.
Good manager.
Money was going missing, and as the newest employee I was suspect number 1. My boss was a great guy and my coworkers were very loyal to him, so I started getting death threats. Eventually it was confirmed to be a different worker and everyone apologized. Still sucked though.
Death threats? ? That doesn't sound like a good place to work.
Death threats? ? WTF is wrong with wherever you worked?
I was working the drive-thru and gave the lady her food. Not 15 feet down the road from the window is a trash can and a sign that says, "Please do not litter." You can probably guess what happened next. She throws her wrapper right in front of me, and as she drives off I say, "Are you kidding me?" Next thing I know I hear a screech of tires and hear a car door slam. She walks back to the window and starts to curse me out saying, "What the fuck did you say? You throw your shit on the ground too, don't bullshit me." I just point to the sign and say, "No, I throw my trash in the trash can like a normal human being. Have a nice fucking day," and shut and lock the window. Luckily my manager was pretty chill and didn't care, and I just went about the rest of my day.
Having a manager who will back you up is so nice. It made my experience working in fast food 10x better. I used to work in a bakery in a grocery store. I was the cake decorator, and the cakes were in containers and in a cooler that customers could just take and go to pay. Wow. 2 kids, 6 and 8 years oldish, ran over and started throwing the cakes on the ground. Like, "Happy birthday" to the ground, style. They were on their 6th cake before I could reach them and took the cakes in their hands. Their mum came over, sighed and just turned the kids around and started to the produce section like nothing happens. No apology, no acknowledgement, no words to the kids about the $100 as they just cost us and my time.
Did you make her pay? I would.
Worked at Brown's for a bit. Went to hand an elderly lady her ice cream cone. She took it from me, pulled her arm into her car, took a lick, and then dropped the ice cream down her door. I genuinely felt bad for her and offered to give her another one and clean it up if she would pull around. It's 100+ degrees out and I'm in full uniform. I begin wiping the side of her door when she throws a plethora of insults my way. This is why your generation is so messed up. You saw I had braces on my wrist. You knew I had arthritis. You should never have handed me that cone. You should ask if I want a cup instead. You'll probably only ever be a fast food worker. It's people like you that make everyone's life hard. She said a few more things. The heat and moment got the best of me. I threw the dirty napkins in her lap. Told her to shut the fuck up. Reminded her I was doing her a favor and it wasn't my fault. Advised her to order correctly. And told her to clean up her own goddamn mess. I walked back inside, explained to my manager what I did. And in comes this lady playing I'm a good, sweet Christian and would never disrespect someone card. Manager told her to call corporate. But as he wasn't outside, he couldn't believe what she had to say.
Was 15 and working for the Golden Arches in a big 2-story city location. An elderly lady came in to use the upstairs toilet and when she came back down, she had poop caked all over her hands, which she dragged down the banister she used to steady herself on down the stairs. She then went and sat at a table for a moment before leaving. She clearly had dementia, although I didn't recognize that at the time. I was sent to the bathroom to investigate the damage and it was a literal shit show. I reported back to my manager, who told me I had to clean it all up. No thanks. I quit on the spot. I was not cleaning up shit for $4.85 an hour.
Not fast food but at a restaurant. I was the waiter for a nice, older couple and they ordered salads as an appetizer before their meal. After a couple minutes, the man calls me over and shows me the tip of a broken drill bit he bit into from his salad. Expecting a lawsuit, my heart skipped a beat and went into adrenaline mode as I quickly got the manager. Tom came over white-faced and apologized profusely while offering a few gift cards and comping free their meal. Shockingly, the couple didn't threaten or get irate. Found out later that Tom had been drilling near the prep line in the kitchen earlier in the day to fix something and saw the drill bit snap but couldn't find the tip. The couple even tipped me well. You dodged a bullet, Tom.
Some people are just too humble to get irate. Life's too short to get upset about every little inconvenience. Naked people while delivering pizza. Sounds sexy in the pornos. Tends to be horrifying in real life.
My first job was delivering pizzas. Some dude about my age at the time, 19, would order delivery near the end of store hours. He'd answer the door in a Home Depot apron rolled up just enough to show his dong. But I didn't mind cause he tipped good and also gave me some cold beers to enjoy after work. It was funny more than anything.
I delivered pizza to a strip club and got flashed by chicks when I was in high school. I still remember that girl.
Someone said, give me some of those fresh-baked cookies. I can smell you baking them. When? First of all, we just reheat frozen ones. And secondly, we just put one in the microwave for a guest who asked us to. When we told him this, he started to yell, then walked behind the counter to go check. I called my manager and he started to push her around to go check, screaming, I want my fresh cookies. Quote exclamation mark. He then tried to hit on one of our team members in the back. Then took off his shirt and screamed when she asked him to go away. We had to escort him out after calling the police.
Was this person bright blue, hairy and with a gruff voice?
And floppy pupils that go both directions.
I was a waitress at a pizza place and an older man and woman flagged me over and they just start yelling at me, going on and on that they found metal in their food. And she's showing me and yelling and I am trying to apologize and saying we can make you a new pizza. I am sorry, I have no idea where it came from. After several minutes of yelling, the man gets quiet and he goes, "Oh, I lost a filling." Then they tried to be all nice and laugh it off. I just wanted to say screw you for treating me like crap.
I never understood why people yell at wait staff for problems with their food.
I worked night shift at a Krispy Kreme. It was always just me and the manager. She never helped, she'd just go in the office to do paperwork, and leave me alone for 8 hours to make everything. Because I knew she'd leave me alone. I'd take the trash out multiple times a night for a smoke sesh. Well, one night I come back in from my smoke sesh, and notice the conveyor for the Og glazed is starting to rattle pretty badly. There's several things you needed to turn off prior to stopping the conveyor glaze fountain. Heating elements, dough ejector thingy, so I turn all of those off. But for some reason the conveyor is in a weird dieseling state, where it continues to run, but is disconnected from power. I start to panic, the conveyor keeps going, and continues to get more and more loud. I start pounding on the manager's office door, but she won't answer. Shit's starting to fall apart, and my baked ass can't handle this. I finally shoulder charge her office door down, screaming WTF! Exclamation mark. I need help, ... but she isn't in there. Look on her security screens. Her car isn't even in the parking lot. Once I realized that bitch was gone, the conveyor finally went. The motor took out one end of the conveyor line, and gallons of 100% pork lard fryer oil covered the floor of the entire kitchen. I called the off-duty manager, told him what just happened, said fuck this, I'm done, and just left. One of our managers started choking a coworker in the drive-through window. Full view of customers. Said coworker was supposed to be my relief, but she was 20 minutes late and apparently the two of them exchanged words immediately before the incident. That manager had a history of aggressive behavior. She tried to tackle me. Literally, on my first day. I'm pretty sure only being short and hippie and thus a low center of gravity saved me from going into the fryer. And was immediately fired. They didn't press charges though. I'm not sure why, and the fired manager called everyone who worked there to cry about how it was all our fault for not supporting her and getting her fired. She was hired to manage Burger King like 2 weeks later. Edit, hippie like carrying my weight in my hips. Second edit because I can't write. She tackled me on my first day and I didn't complain because I was learning how to person again after being really depressed. The choking incident happened like 4 months later.
I was a car rep at Sonic Drive-In through most of high school. I was the only guy that was able to use the roller skates. An extremely creepy old man in a vehicle that might as well have been in a scrapyard called me back to his car after I started to go back inside. Gave me a $15 tip because that ass needed a second look.
That's when you learn to skate backwards. I had a rough-looking guy in a beat-up truck try to use 1-year-old coupons. I refused to take them. That was a mistake. He held up the drive-through and screamed at me. Including, "Smarten up, son. Or you're going nowhere in life." Made me feel like shit until I realized that someone like that who is screaming those things at a 15-year running the drive-through did not go anywhere in life.
Reminds me of some lady earlier tonight at work on the phone who had a special order and demanded she get the sale price when she gets them. She was going on about how she knew how companies work because she used to be CEO. Must have been a real fall from grace to go from CEO to demanding sale price on some damn waffles.
At McDonald's, of course. I was a first assistant manager. We had a kid who was just promoted to shift manager. He was a very good employee and he knew his stuff. We had high hopes for him. His very first shift. 5 minutes into the shift, he does a walk-through of the dining room. He asks a girl who was 7 months pregnant to change a trash bag and she tells him no. That she can't do it. He walks to the back of the store. Gets the trash masher, basically a mop handle with steel plates on the end to compact the trash, walks to the garbage bag and mashes the trash. He then takes the trash masher and knocks the girl out with it, screaming, "I'm the fucking boss and everyone better do whatever I tell them," and continued to yell at everyone about how she needs to be fired for insubordination and no one else better ever test him. He was arrested in the store and was trying to argue with the police officers that he was in the right. The girl had a major concussion but she and the baby were okay.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to support the channel, and above all, have an excellent day you marvelous people.